Alright, hello, my name is Christopher Godina. Today I'm bringing another video where I show off another little milestone build review thing, where I show a couple more elements that we've learned in class and to show off what I've made and how I'm going to go ahead and implement these little factors into my final build. So for this video, it's not going to be with a whole level or a whole little level build put into perspective. This is more of the different elements that I can throw into my final build. So I'm going to be showing off those. So yeah, getting started. Actually, getting started. Some of the elements that I'll be showing is being able to kill the player while pressing a key. So whenever it presses a certain key on the keyboard, the player will go ahead and respawn. So they'll die and respawn. In addition to that, there's different checkpoints that I have set up just for demonstration purposes, where we can go ahead and walk over, and once we hit that key again, to kill our player, he'll respawn into the latest checkpoint that they've stepped into. We also have damaging factors where we have one where it damages the player over time, or the AI player over time, and we have one that kills him instantly on contact. And we also have the ability to spawn different little damaging areas where we choose. So if we're getting chased by an AI character, we can go ahead and place those down and start killing them slowly. Okay, first we'll go ahead and demonstrate killing the player. So our original point is right there, so we go ahead and hit P. Go ahead and it'll set a delay, and we'll have the player respawn here. One of the checkpoints we have set up is actually on here, so we can show off the trigger here. If we just walk over this and you jump off, go ahead and hit P again, we'll respawn at this checkpoint here. And on top of the stairs there's another checkpoint that is invisible, so we just walk around here for a little bit, walk off, hit P again, we can go ahead and respawn at this checkpoint, and so on and so forth. We also have this checkpoint here, walk over it, hit P, and respawn at this checkpoint. So that's how the player goes ahead, and we can go ahead and kill off our player and set them up to where they spawn in a certain location that we choose. So for the next part, we do have the AI character themselves. So here we do have our AI character that we've thrown a couple different elements into. So we have him, as you saw at the beginning of the video, we saw where he's just wandering around, going from point to point, just walking around, and at certain points he actually started following us. For those, we do have, we come over here. We have him walking around a certain area, so we chose a certain amount of units where you can go ahead and walk around in. So we have his wander radius, so we set that off to 1500. We can really set this off to however many units we want, but we just have him like running around a good little spot here in the level. So that's how we can change that. And if we set this up to a higher number, he'll walk around probably mostly the entirety of this whole level up to that area, and then back, and then over here on this area. We also have some hearing factors. So basically, the reason he was following us is he was able to hear us when we step either really close to him, or when we jump and things like that. He's able to hear that sound being made, and he goes ahead and follows us until we get out of his range. So he just starts wandering around once more. He also has a health factor, which is I'm going to explain how the damaging works. So like I said before, the AI, so he'll start moving and start going to different locations. So he'll pause there, get a little delay, and he'll start moving again. Same thing. So he'll keep wandering, stop, and then he'll keep moving on. But we can actually go ahead and call him. So let me go to, let's get out of his range first. So we'll go ahead and get out of his range real quick, and we'll come over here and go ahead and hit E. And as you can see, up at the top we have a little message where we want him to come to our location. So every time we press E on one of these checkpoints here, and go ahead and he'll come to us. Go ahead and set again. He'll set up to that latest location, and so on and so forth. And we also have a checkpoint over here on this side. So go ahead and call him over, and this is where our damaging factor comes in handy. So just to represent just like a little fire pit, I went ahead and made a simple cylinder that we can place on the ground, and whenever the AI character walks over it, it kills him instantly. There's two ways to set this up actually. So if you see here, we do have a little bit of a spike trap thing. So when the AI character walks over this trap here, this one is the type where it'll damage them over time. So the DPS here on the default section, it's only hurting them for 50 points for that amount of health. So we have that to where it's only hurting him for a little bit of a time. On this side over here, we have another higher trap set, so the DPS is a much larger number. So as soon as they walk into it, it's instant death. As for this one, it's just damage over time. And like I said, if we are being chased by the AI character, we can go ahead and press a key, and we'll lay down more of these traps. So as we run, he keeps moving on with us, and the player will keep getting hurt by those traps. To just demonstrate that, go ahead and lay this over here, just so we can have him come to us. So we stand on here, call him over, just keep pressing E just so we can keep him in this spot here. And the damage over time will go into effect, and there he goes. He disappears. That means he's been killed by the traps here. And as I showed before, we can go ahead and come over here to this trap here. Go ahead and press E, get his attention, and you'll die instantly. So those are the different factors that that I went ahead and implemented, that I will go ahead and put into an even bigger level for my final project. I just wanted to show off that those damages and those waypoints do work out, and shown how we can go ahead and implement that. But for the sake of this, we'll go ahead and look into our blueprints now. So the very first one we have is the actual character himself. So the only reason, actually, let me go back to here. So the only reason I have this this character set up here is so I can change him. It's because I can actually work on this third person character here. So I just went and created another one and made a script where I can actually walk onto a trigger and go ahead and switch characters just for testing purposes. So for this video, we'll be focusing on him. So we'll go ahead and have this. This is our respawn setup here. So on the begin play, actually, so at the very beginning, we have our set location here. So we have our actor location going into our blind event on destroyed. And for this, we have a custom event actually set up to where it's our respawn event that we have shown off here. And we have that going on to the spawn points. So the spawn points that we set up will reset. We'll go ahead and spawn at the latest point that we have going on. So we have here where it goes into our spawn active third person character. So this is our character itself that we're walking around in, and we'll go ahead and every time we hit a key, or every time we respawn, we'll go ahead and possess a new character, from our playing controller. And here's our die on P. So every time we press P, we'll go ahead and unpossess the character. There'll be a little delay, and then I'll go ahead and destroy the actor, and we'll go ahead and possess another character. And then here's the spike trap that I was talking about. So every time we press Q, we'll go ahead and set up somewhere in this in the navigation that we showed off, or anywhere in the world. That's the navigation data. Where we can go ahead and drop a spike or drop a trap, and from our location it'll set a trap at our location. So every time an AI character is following us, we can go ahead and set that up. So we also have the different hearing. So for this one, we use the jump. So every time we jump, there's a jump volume or the loudness that the AI can go ahead and detect. So we have our jump here and our stop jumping. So when we go ahead and release the key, we stop jumping. And when we press the key, we jump. We go ahead and make a noise, and then the AI will go ahead and track that noise. So that's that for the AI character, or our character. Now we move on to the AI. So for him, we had quite a few different things. So just for the damaging, we have this event any damage that we have from our actual AI character. Sorry about that. Where we have a subtraction for our initial damage, and so the damage they take is minus their health, and it goes ahead and sets their health to the one after the damage. And from here, after the condition is basically if once they take enough damage, that will cause them to die, or in this case, it will destroy the actor, destroying the AI character. And for every single tick here, we have our how we had them walking around. So that's where these different variables come in handy. The wander radius, the nav data. The nav data is basically the area in which the character can go ahead and walk around. We have the wander radius, which is how many units we want to have the player walk around in, and then on these the different locations, we can actually set up different waypoints. For this part, we just have them wandering around, and here's the delay. So when I had them stop and then choose a different location, that's the 3-second delay that we have going on there. And then here is the on scene. So the reason he was following us all around is because he was able to see us. So for this one, we have our hearing cutoff that we have set here for the character movement. It'll set that destination to us, and within that that navigation data that we have set up for the rest of the level. And then for this one, it's the same. It's just for hearing purposes, or for hearing. So when the character goes ahead and hears us, then go ahead and walk around and try to find us. And once they set the location on us, they're going to keep following us. So that's pretty much what we have set up for the AI character. So for the waypoints, go ahead and open that. Just actually decided to comment this part. So whenever the triggers overlap, the actor will be casted to a third-person character, which will let us set the location for a new third-person character. And then multiple of these triggers can be set in order to have different checkpoints. Little spelling there. But yeah, we have our actor event begin overlap. So we cast to a third-person character, which from there we can go ahead and set the value, the different values. So whenever we walk on it, it'll set our location. So we have our character location here, and every time we go ahead and walk over it and we hit P, it'll set or we hit our die key, we can go ahead and spawn at that location. So just simple little blueprint here that we can go ahead and duplicate. So we duplicate these trigger boxes here, and we can go ahead and set them up wherever we want to. So for the spike traps, we went ahead and made a mesh out of it. So just for triangles here that we have set up on this side, give it a texture, just something that will make it look like a trap. So we have those, and then we can go ahead and set up the damage per second. We can set it to 50, so it can go at a steady rate, or we can just set it up to the highest number that we can think of, so to make it more of a one-time death. And so for that one, that's the DPS. For this one, for the trap over here, it's a little bit differently set up differently. So for here, we have the DPS just going to 10,000, so that the character just dies on touching the trap here. So open that up. Don't begin overlap will cast to a character, and from here we have our character in spikes array. So from here, it'll go ahead and whenever the player walks into the trap, it'll set up an array saying that this certain character walked into it, and then from there, after the player walks out of the trap, it'll take them away from the list. But as long as they walk into it and they're inside of it, it'll keep them in this list here. And then we have the uncomponent end overlap, which is basically the same. So like I said, so once the player walks into the trap, it'll add them to the array. Once the player walks out of the trap, it'll remove them from the array. And for this one, we have our DPS set up to where we have our seconds for our DPS. That'll be our base damage, and we have this for each loop here, where again it sets up the characters in the array, and it'll be the damage setup, and the person that's getting damage is or the person that's causing the damage is ourselves here. So yeah, we can go ahead and modify these traps differently, just so they can go ahead and either cause damage over time or just kill the player instantly, just like 2 that I showed. But yeah, that will do it for this video. Just wanted to show off some of the elements that we have here, or or less how we can go ahead and implement them into a final level, and that's what I'll be doing for the next video. So next time I'll be go ahead and building a whole new level here and adding every single one of these components, as well as the other ones that I have learned about over the past few weeks, and just make a brand new level out of those. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.